Alrighty guys, so since we're not in class today, I'm going to go through your notes with you while you're remote learning today. Your notes are in the Chapter 6 notes packet. Today I'm going to teach you guys about the law of sines. So first we're going to go through the notes together, and then I'm going to get you guys started on your assignment today at the end of this video. And the notes are in your notes packet, but there's also a copy posted on Canvas if you need it. And then the assignment today is in your TOC for the week. It's the only page that's in there. And if you lost your TOC or didn't get one in class, it's on Canvas as well. Just a quick reminder, since we're not in class today, we're going to turn in Tuesday and Wednesday's assignments in class on Monday. So you just want to make sure those are ready to go for Monday. All right, so starting with the law of sines, guys, that's what our goal is today, to teach you the law of sines. We learned yesterday how to solve right triangles like this. We talked about how you can use the Pythagorean theorem to find a missing side. We talked about how you can use inverse trig ratios to go find a missing angle, like that. But all of this only works if you have a right triangle. Now, not everything in the world is a right triangle, so we have to be able to find the missing angles and sides of non-right triangles. So that's where the law of sines comes into play. This is used to solve for the angles and sides of non-right triangles. Okay, so like the picture here, this shows a non-right triangle because there are no right angles. Now, obviously, it has angles and sides, and so we need to be able to solve for those. So the law of sines is basically a series of fractions. It's the little a, which is the side, divided by sine of the angle A, equals little b, which is the side b, over sine of angle B, equals c, which is the side, over sine of angle C. So it's a series of three fractions. The bottom row, these are the angles. A, B, and C, those are capital letters, so they're angles. The top are the sides, and those are lowercase, that's why they're the sides. All right, so that's the law. It's going to make more sense when we get to an example. Something you have to be given in order to use this law, you must be given an angle and an opposite side to start using the law of sines. Okay, let's see what we have for our first example. We have the triangle drawn for us. We know angle C is 53, angle B is 44, and side B is 7. All right, and it looks like we're missing angle A, side C, and side A. So first thing I'm going to do is start by finding angle A. I can do that because I know two angles. I can subtract them from 180 to get the last angle. So 180 minus 53 minus 44. You can type that in your calculator, and that will get you 83 degrees for angle A. Now I'm going to go find the sides. So because we're dealing with a non-right triangle, we have to use the law of sines. To start with the law of sines, you have to know an angle and an opposite side. We know angle B and we know side B. So I'm going to write that as a fraction. 7 is the side over sine of the angle, which is 44 degrees, equals. Now in the other fraction, you're going to put what you don't know. So this is what we know, and this side will be the unknown. We don't know side A, but we do know angle A, which is 83. We just found that. All right, now I've set up my proportion. I'm going to solve. To solve a proportion, you cross multiply. Some people call this the butterfly method. 7 times sine of 83 equals A times sine of 44. Okay. Now I'm going to solve for a, so to do that, divide sine of 44 on both sides. And then you can type that in your calculator to get a. So let's go type that in. 7 sine of 83, make sure that you close those parentheses, divided by sine of 44. And that gives us about 10, so that is going to be the measure of a. Okay, so that's how you find a side using the law of sines. I'm going to erase this so I can have room for C. All right, now to find the last side. Again, we're not dealing with a right triangle, so we have to use the law of sines. Start with what you know. You know side B and angle B equals. Now what we don't know is side C. We know angle C though. They gave us that, it's 53 degrees. So the angle's at the bottom, the side is on the top. Now I've got this set up, we're going to cross multiply and solve. 7 times sine of 53 equals C times sine of 44. And then divide both sides by sine of 44 to get C by itself. Now let's go type that in the calculator. 7 sine of 53, 7 sine of 53, close parentheses, divided by sine, what was that, 44. And that is the measure of angle C. We're going to round to 8. Okay, so that's how the law of sines is used to find missing sides. This is what you know, the angle and side. This side is what you don't know. And then you use a proportion to cross multiply. And solve for the missing side. All right, let's go ahead and do the next one. Obviously here you're not given a triangle. So what we're going to do is draw a triangle using what we do know. And I'm going to put A down there, B, and then C. So angle A is 115. Side C is 19. And side A is 28. Now what we don't know is angle C, angle B, and we don't know side B. Now, because I don't know angle B or side B, I'm not going to start by finding angle B or side B first, because I don't know either of those. So let's start with finding angle C. Okay. Something we do know is side A and angle A. So we can set that up as A over sine of A. What we don't know is angle C. So this time I'm going to put sine of C and then 19 on the top because that's the side. All right, now we're going to just cross multiply and solve. So multiply 19 times sine of 115 equals, cross multiply these, 28 times sine of angle C. All right, so our goal here is to solve for C. So let's start by moving the 28 to the other side. So sine of angle C. And then let's go ahead and type this in our calculator to get our decimal. 19 sine of 115 over 28. Yeah, 28. Don't forget to close your parentheses. And that's a long decimal. So we'll just say it's 0.16499. What was that? 614. 614 ... because it's continuous, okay? Now, the main thing you guys have to keep in mind here is we're looking for an angle. And we've talked about in class, when you're looking for an angle, we have to use an inverse trig ratio. So I'm going to take sine inverse of that decimal in my calculator, the entire decimal, and that's going to get me the angle C. So to do that, hit second, sine, and then just type in that decimal that we just found, 499.45698. Okay, and that's how you get side or angle C. It's about 37, we can round that to 38 degrees. It's an angle. All right, so that's how the law of sines can also be used to find an angle. You still cross multiply, just like we did before, but here, when you find the angle, take the inverse of sine in your calculator. All right, now that we know angle A and we know angle C, we can go find B, just subtracting from 180. So subtract these angles from 180, and that will get you 27 for angle B. All right, last one is finding side B. So I'm going to erase this, that way I've got some more space. All right, so to find side B, we're going to have to use the law of sines. Start with what you know. You know side A, you know angle A. Over here, we're going to put what we don't know. We don't know side B, but we found angle B just by subtracting the total from 180. Now what we're going to do is cross multiply and solve. Cross multiply 28 times sine of 27 equals B times sine of 115. To solve for B, divide sine of 115 to the other side. Now this you can type in your calculator. 28 sine of 27. 28 sine of 27, close the parentheses, divided by sine of 115. And that gets us the last side, which we'll just round to 14. All right, letter C is the last one here on your notes. I did want to give you guys some time to practice. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video here, see if you can solve this triangle on your notes using the law of sines, and then you can play the video to check your work. All right, let's check your work, guys. We know angle C is 30. We know angle A is 61. What we don't know is angle B. We don't know side C, and we don't know side A. So let's start by finding the last angle. Just subtract the known angles from 180. 180 minus 61 minus 30 is 89 degrees. So that is the last angle that we were missing, 89 degrees. All right, now we're missing two sides, A and C. And what I do know here, I know angle C, B, and side B here. So I'm going to use the law of sines, and I'm going to go find angle A, or side A first. So to set this up, the side goes on the top, so put 8 on top, and then sine of the angle at the bottom. Now on the other fraction, I'm going to put what we're looking for. We're looking for side A, and sine of angle A is underneath. All right, so there's our setup. Now I'm going to go solve. To solve, cross multiply 8 times sine of 61 equals A times sine of 89. To get A by itself, we're going to divide sine of 89 to the other side. And then you can type that in your calculator to see what side A measures. 8 sine of 61 divided by sine of 89. Don't forget to close your parentheses. And that rounds to 7. So side A is 7. All right, last side that we're going to look for is side C. We know angle B and we know side B, 8 over sine of 89. That's what we know. We know that side and angle. What we don't know is side C. We know angle C is 30 degrees. So there's our setup, and now we're going to solve by cross multiplying. 8 times sine of 30 equals, cross multiply, C times sine of 89. To get C by itself, divide by sine of 89. And now we can type this in our calculator to get side C. 8 sine of 30, close parentheses, divided by sine of 89. And that rounds to 4. So side C is 4. We're not going to finish the back side of the notes today. I'd like to do that in class with you, so we're going to do that next week in class. Your assignment today is the Law of Science worksheet that's in the back of your TOC. The key is on Canvas, but since we're going to finish the notes in class next week, you can skip number 5, 6, and 7 on the worksheet. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of problems with you guys to get you started on your homework. Starting with number 2. Number 2 says that we are looking for angle C, we're looking for side A, and we're looking for side B. So I'm going to first start by finding angle C. Just subtract the angles that you know from 180 degrees. You can do that in your calculator. That will get you 40 degrees for angle C. Now I'm going to go find side A and B using the law of sines. So start with what you know, the side and the angle that you know. We know side C is 24. We know angle C is 40. Now what I don't know is side A, but I do know angle A is 118. So there's my setup for the law of sines, and now we're going to cross multiply to solve. 24, I guess I'll extend this. 24 times sine of 118 equals, cross multiply these, 8 times sine of 40. To get A by itself, divide sine of 40 to the other side. And then you can type this in your calculator to figure out side A. 24 sine of 118 divided by sine of 40. And that's about 32, 33. We'll just round to 33. So that's side A. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to find the last side, which is side B. We know a side and an angle. We know 24 over sine of 40 equals, what I don't know is side B, but we know angle B is 22. All right, now we're just going to solve. Cross multiply to solve. 24 times sine of 22 equals B, I'm going to put that down here, B times sine of 40, and then divide both sides by sine of 40. Kind of ran out of space there. equals B. And then you can type that in your calculator to see what B is going to be. 24 sine of 22 divided by sine of 40. And that rounds to 14. So side B is 14. 3 gives us the measure of angle A is 70 degrees. We know side C is 26 and side A is 25. So since we don't have a picture, that's where I'm going to start, is drawing a picture. A, B, C. Angle A is 70, side C is 26, side A is 25. Okay, what we don't know either of these angles. We don't know angle B, we don't know angle C, and we don't know side B. Alrighty, so because I don't know angle B or side B, I'm going to hold off on finding both of those till I find C. So I'm going to start by finding angle C first. And to do that, we're going to use the law of sines. Starting with the angle and side that I know side A is 25, angle A is 70. What we're looking for is angle C, but we know side C is 26. Okay, so there's my setup for the law of sines. Now we're just going to cross multiply and solve. 26 times sine of 70 equals 25 times sine of angle C. To get C by itself, we first need to divide the 25 to the other side. And that equals sine of C. And this you can type in your calculator to get the decimal. Ultimately, you're going to be taking the inverse. So let's just type that in. 26 sine of 70, close your parentheses, divided by 25. And that gets us that long decimal, 0.977. It just keeps going. Now, like I said, because you're looking for an angle, you're going to be taking the inverse. Sine inverse of that decimal. The entire decimal in your calculator. And that's going to give us the measure of angle C. So sine inverse, and then just put in that decimal, 0.9772803.256. And that gets us angle C, which measures about 77.8 degrees. All right, now I'm going to go find angle B. Just subtract the two angles that we know from 180 degrees. 70 and 77.8. When we subtract that, it gives us 32.2 degrees. So that's the measure of angle B. Lastly, I need to go find side B. So I'm going to erase this, that way I've got some room here. All right, to go find side B, let's first set up what we know. We know side A and angle A. What we don't know is side B, but we just found angle B, which was 32.2. All right, now we just cross multiply and solve. 25 times sine of 32.2 equals, cross multiply these, B times sine of 70, and then divide sine of 70 to move it to the other side. And then you can type that in your calculator to get B. 25 sine of 32.2, close your parentheses, divided by sine of 70. And that gets us the last side, which is 14.2. And that is the last side. All Alrighty, so that's how the law of signs is used, and that was a couple examples. Number 1 and number 4, you guys can try and check using the key that's on Canvas. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me.